Good morning. Happy Monday. I completely spaced on actually making a video updating you guys on the state of Earl's case, Earl David Worden. News Now Houston, also known as News Now Community, also known as David Worden. His attorney continued the pretrial motion hearing for December 8th. So again, we still don't have a trial date set. And that's when the big money is, unless Earl decides to plead out, which at this point, with all the attorney's fees he spent, it doesn't appear that he's intending on doing, but who knows? Who knows? And since I'm talking about Earl, I figured I'd talk about another old favorite, and that would be the ginger snap himself, James Allen Springer, also known as James Freeman. He posted up a video where he was very upset. Apparently he had gone to Arizona DCS, Division of Child. Out here it's like DCSS, but I don't know. He calls them also CPS and Child Protective Services. Apparently he believes that they are trying to place children in the homes of known pedophiles, and while I'm sure that they have done so, I don't think that's their intention. I mean, most people don't like pedophiles, generally speaking, and I don't think that anybody who's in CPS agencies wants children to be placed with pedophiles. Anyway, that's not the point. Point is, James says that he was cited. He didn't talk to the cops. The cops said that they're going to take the word of the people inside, that he was yelling and carrying on. And then Freeman said that he, just to let the cat out of the bag, there was a finding of no probable cause. I don't know about that. There's a bunch of ways in Arizona to get charges for yelling and carrying on. If you're doing it loud enough, it might rise to the level of making an unreasonable noise. I think that would typically be like in a neighborhood at night where you're using sound amplification or something like that. There's a case that I haven't bothered to read on it because I don't really care enough. There's also, if you are continuously interrupting someone's business, that would do it. I doubt seriously that James would use fighting words. He's much too much of a chicken shit for that. He likes to make very sure that he doesn't use any potty words, generally speaking, because he doesn't want to get his face punched in. Finally, there's if you create a serious disturbance, the courts in Arizona though have interpreted that to be more like a fight or other kind of altercation. So, I mean, there's a bunch of different ways where they could have justified it. I don't even see the case at all in the Arizona will post everything onto a single website for all the court cases, and you could search by name and date of birth. And if you search by James Allen Springer with his date of birth, which is, I think you only have to do 7 of 1984. I don't think you actually need to do the actual date. But you get a bunch of them, even if you don't use the date of birth, just James Springer, and his middle name's Allen. So there you go. It's public records, kids. Gotta love public records. Anyway, you get a bunch of cases of his. He's apparently on probation or something from running away from previous cases, failure to appears, things like that. But I don't see anything recent in 2020 as far as a misdemeanor citation for disorderly conduct. But even assuming that is the case and he was cited for it, I had to stop the video when he started going on about how the officer was forcing James to spread the officer's version of the events. And that's not the way it works. Mr. Springer, you had a recording device that you were broadcasting from, and he has the right to speak. And if you don't want to amplify him, you don't have to post it. You can turn off your feed, you can mute it. You certainly didn't have to rebroadcast it at a later date after you had initially live streamed it. So it is your choice entirely as to whether or not you're going to give him a platform and allow him to use your platform to reach your audience. And I think actually it's probably good for your audience to get a bit of a different perspective, considering that you think the application of any force at all ever is violence and is therefore to be condemned, when sometimes force is justified, and reasonable minds can disagree on when force becomes violence. So I think the officer had a valid point that if Freeman did try to escape, the officer would be justified in using force to catch and restrain Springer from running off. But the officer wouldn't be justified in using violence, i.e. like punching Freeman or something like that. So it all comes down to the use of words that aren't specifically defined in law and in language in order to try to make a legal argument or something along those lines. And no, signing a ticket or signing a citation is not done under duress and threat of force or threat of violence or whatever, however he wants to say it. The courts haven't found that to be the case. All you're doing is signing that you will appear. You're not signing any admission to guilt. You always have the option to not sign it. The only thing is that it's one of two choices. Either you go to jail and you get a hearing essentially immediately or as soon as possible with a magistrate, generally within 24 hours, or you can sign the citation and you can appear at a later date. So it's whatever is most convenient for you. If you have to get it done soon, don't sign the ticket. Say, take me to jail, get me in front of a magistrate, or whatever the type of judge in your state that hears those things would be. In Arizona, I believe it would be a magistrate. In California, it would be a superior court judge or commissioner. Who knows? So yeah, it's not under duress or threat of force. You have an option. You might think your options suck, but those are your options. My window's dirty, if you're wondering why it's all blurry. Anyway, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.